Thank you very much for joining us today at the second episode of Fintech Talks. We're excited to have with us a special guest, Gani Uzbekov, the CEO and founder of S1lkpay, a company that is transforming cross-border payments and promoting financial inclusion on a global scale. For those of you who may not be familiar with Gani, let me introduce him. Gani Uzbekov is a well-respected figure in the world of finance and international development. He has over 20 years of experience in the field. He holds a degree in the London School of Economics, the Harvard University, and has held a senior position in various government bodies, including Deputy Minister of Finance of Kazakhstan, Deputy Chairman of Kazakhstan's Financial Market Regulation Agency, and Deputy Chairman of Kazana, the Kazakh Sovereign Wealth Fund. Gani has been at the forefront of fintech industry for over a decade, with a wealth of experience in building successful companies in the payment and financial services sphere. Gani is a true visionary with a deep understanding of the complexities of the cross-border payments and really passion for driving financial inclusion. With his team, he's been working hard to promote financial inclusion, making it their mission to provide payment services to unbanked communities around the globe. Organization-wise, please feel free to submit questions through the chat feature as we go along, as well as the end of the session by raising your hand by Teams feature. Now, let's get started with the FinTech Talks and hear from Gani about the opportunities and challenges of building a successful FinTech company. To start the discussion, Gani, can you tell us more about S1lkpay and what actually inspired you to start the FinTech venture? You're muted.
Well, first of all, hi everyone, and thank you, Ilya, for giving me this opportunity to talk about our company, our roadmap, our journey, and our ambitions. So S1lkpay is basically a fintech which help people help their loved ones instantly. So basically, within the balance, you can create a digital card and send to your loved ones. It can be your family, kids, relative, co-workers, friends. And that, as soon as the recipient get that card, they can immediately add to Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, or S1lkpay, which is our own wallet, and basically use it either online, offline. And actually, it takes only maybe 5-10 seconds, irrespective whether it's cross-border within the country. And so we actually, I wouldn't say like the money transfer company, we're in between bank and money transfer company, because basically we don't move money, we give access through the additional card issuance.
That's interesting, Gani. It's clear that you have had a diverse range of experience in your career so far. So you've had experience working in highly traditional organizations such as Kazakh Sovereign Wealth Fund, and now you're leading a highly innovative fintech startup. Can you speak to some of the challenges you faced in shifting from a traditional organization to a startup environment and how you overcame that?
Well, when you're a startup, you're basically no one. Nobody want to talk to you. Nobody usually listen to you. So of course, like having a high position at the government, and then like my last job before startup was the chairman, CEO of one of the Kazakh bank, and being a startup, of course, it's very hard. It's very challenging. So, but at the same time, like I was at that time 43, and I thought it was my last chance to do something on my own. And basically, what factors led me to start my own startup is basically I had more than 20 years working experience in banking, financial, and governmental sector. I had ideas. I had some savings, I had networking, and I had ambition. So basically all of that led me to start my own journey. And of course it wasn't easy at all, especially the first, I would say, 3 years, because banking regulation in Kazakhstan, I would say, is more inclined and biased toward supporting and lobbying banks versus fintechs and other financial organizations. So we usually joke that if we set up a company in Europe, I usually take maximum 6-9 months to validate your ideas. If you do the same in Kazakhstan, usually it takes at least 3 years.
Wow, wow. That has been an impressive journey indeed. And how does SilkPay technology differs from traditional payment solution? Can you walk us through the key products and services that SilkPay offers? What challenges do traditional payment methods present, and how does your company addresses them?
Well, basically right now, if you want to help your loved ones, if you want to transfer money, first of all, either you need bank account, it's like traditional IBAN to IBAN through SWIFT. You can do card to card through Visa, Union Pay, American Express, MasterCard, either cross or within their so-called empire. Or you can, for example, transfer cash using Western Union, Remitly, all other, I would say, non-banking financial institution. But in all of those examples, either you need to have bank account, card account, or you have to spend time to receive money in person. In our case, what we do is basically what you need is just cell phone, smartphone. And basically, of course, like you have to do KYC, AML, identification process. But as soon as you have our application, you create balance, say like 1,000 bucks, and then say, for example, your friend's son might be across the street or maybe a different part of the globe. And at this moment of time, say they need $100. What you do, you actually create additional card within that balance with like separate expiration period, a separate amount, and send it to your, say, son. And son, as soon as he gets usually within 3-5 seconds, he immediately added to Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, and we deliberately choose to use our own wallet, SilkPay. Basically, we make any Android phone with NFC digital card, transform that, and they can usually use it. So, for example, say you're standing in the queue in a Starbucks, and you realize you don't have card. Boom, you can get, say, $5 card added to your digital wallet and pay it. It's the same with SilkPay. And in all of those examples, you don't move money. You basically like a money drop box for your family. Imagine like your money in the cloud, and you give separate keys to separate doors where you created by yourself through that supplementary card. So you can be basically banker for yourself, for your family, for your neighborhood, for your for colleagues, anything like that. Because at any point of time, you can close card. At any point of time, you can see the history of the transaction. This is our core product. And that's why, since we don't move money, we believe we're not the same as Western Union, even though we provide more or less the same services. Basically, we actually cover the same pain, but we do that instantly and cheaper.
Thanks for sharing that, Gani. It's great to hear about the specific products that you offer. There is no question that financial inclusion is a current trend in the world of fintech, and it's clear that it's a key focus for SilkPay. Can you tell us more about the initiatives and strategies that your company has put in place to promote easier access of financial services in unbankable areas and societies of the world?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So basically, like on the surface, we usually say all we need is your cell phone. That's it. But there might be like several challenges we're actually coming after that. First of all, you have to have appropriate authentication, identification process. Along with that, you have to make sure that you do AML KYC, which means either you have to do it by yourself or you have to hire vendors like on FIDO, all of those kind of companies. In addition to that, you have to make sure that the person whom you're onboarding is actually not on the sanction list, which means, again, you have to have vendors like Dow Jones, Refinitiv. So on the surface, it maybe sounds like easier, but since you are a licensed company, you have to make sure that you onboard right clients. So what we say, what you need is just cell phone. When we go to different jurisdiction, what we do, we usually integrate with local so-called governmental database of their citizens, so that when it comes to authentication, we make sure that the client on the other side exists, his document is valid, and then we add so-called international KYC AML when we see sanction, not sanction. And then after that, clients actually can use our application without any, hassle-free, seamless, anything like that. So financial inclusion is very, I would say, strong concept, and we have to follow that, and we have to, like, say, make sure that actually at the end it can be realized. But there are many, I would say, challenges and obstacles, and one of them is actually biometric identification. And this is one of the, I would say, I wouldn't say critical, but I would say main barrier for certain fintech to do and provide services remotely. I hope I answered my question.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's really important to know, Gani. And the next one, in the world of chasing profits, it's good to hear the company is doing it for the good cause. The other one would be that fundraising can be a real challenge for many startups. Can you share the story of how you secured your first initial capital for S1lkpay? How have the partnership and collaborations helped to drive the growth? What were the further rounds of investment and challenges with that?
Yeah, fundraising is, I would say, is one of the main, I would say, headache and sometimes killer for all startups. And being a Kazakh, coming from Kazakhstan, and being at the beginning as a Kazakh company, I would say, was one of the harder thing to raise money if you actually looking for international or regional investor. So basically, if your idea within certain jurisdiction, then of course it might be, I would say, relatively easy to raise money among your local angel investors. But even angel investors, they have some limitation. So when we realize that actually being a Kazakh startup to raise money is very hard and almost, I would say, hardly feasible, we got invitation actually at that time, we've been lucky, from Dubai International Financial Center. So basically at that time, we presented ourselves not as a Kazakh company, but I would say as a Middle Eastern company, because it gave us much wider audience in terms of targeting those regional investors, like either Central Asian, Middle East, or European, or even like African regional investors. But I would say we've been lucky, I personally, I would say I've been lucky enough to meet my first investor, because I started looking for money, I would say, in 2020. And I actually, my first, like the first money which I got, it was in summer 2021. And there was a statement actually says, if you're looking for money, you usually get advice. So if you're looking for advice, you usually get money. It's not my wording, but actually it's working. And when I ask advice from one of, I would say, guy who actually eventually became our first investor, he actually within a week said that he's ready to invest. And his name is Arkady Rakhilkin, and I would say I was lucky enough to meet that guy, because basically his reputation and his, I would say, authority among financial community, at least in our region, is very high. Because basically, in addition to getting that money, we immediately got attention from his network. So basically, of course, sometimes it's very hard, but basically, if you get not only money, but I would say competence, expertise, like reputation, is actually helps you a lot in future as well. So it wasn't easy, to be honest, because like I would say in LinkedIn, I usually say I send maybe more than 1,000 email, like targeting all those regional investors. And I got only maybe 3% of response, out of which maybe half of them said, yeah, it's interesting, come back when you have traction. And of course, I like met maybe half of the 4 please from Kazakhstan, but most of them, they said no. I met all banks here in Kazakhstan, top 10, all of them, they said no, or they said they will do it by themselves. Because our journey at the beginning, because right now, technology-wise, we're like a bank. We're a principal member of MasterCard, which is not cheap because you have to keep insurance. We have our own in-house technology payment processor, and we have all core banking system in place. But at the beginning, we didn't want to do that because like as a startup, you have very limited funding. But I will give you one example. With one bank, we actually lost 14 months when we've been waiting for upgrade of their payment processor. And there was only one item, is dynamic generation of CVV code, those 3 digit on the back of your plastic card. And then we realized that if we wait when bank will be ready in every jurisdiction, it will take like ages and ages. So we made painful decision to buy our own in-house payment processor, which is not cheap. And when we became affiliate of MasterCard member, again, we lost, I would say, 10 months with one of the bank because we couldn't issue our card because that bank like raised a lot of amendments to the already agreed partnership agreement. So at that time, it was very painful, very costly, but right now, what we have actually give us independence, flexibility, and speed when we go to different jurisdiction to set up our operation, because at the end, what we need is just regulatory license, that's it.
That's a great story, Gani. Getting smart money at the beginning is a core to success. It's always interesting to hear how the companies got their start. Can you share some insight on the opportunities and challenges you faced while expanding S1lkpay services to the new market? Why you did choose Emirates as your headquarters? How do you navigate the cultural differences and regulatory frameworks in various different markets all over the world that you are expanding to?
Well, as I said, we got invitation from DFC. They invited to apply for so-called innovation testing license to test our product. And when we realized that anyway, like Dubai, like as compared with Kazakhstan, in terms of like awareness, in terms of visibility among regional, even global investors, we thought that it's good opportunity to set up our business. And in terms of like setting up the business and running, it's relatively not so expensive when you have that kind of, say, legal representation in DIFC. And as soon as we set up our entity there, we started getting a lot of attention from regional investors. Plus, since we're providing so-called instant money sharing, which actually one of our target is labor migrant, and UAE and Saudi Arabia all together every year transfer like labor remittances around $100 billion. So since we got that invitation and we have those target market, we realize that it's good opportunity to set up and start meeting our target clients and look for partnership. At the beginning, I would say we've been naive because I thought since we have that idea, I will easily find local bank to collaborate and present our product. Because at the end, if you want to sell prepaid card in any jurisdiction, you have to do it in local currency, which means either you have to have license from regulator or you have to be partner with licensed institution, i.e. bank. And then again, in Dubai, I would say we lost maybe 16 months. I started talking with 5 banks, big banks. All of them, they said no. This is, I would say, difference from Kazakh banks. In Kazakh banks, they will say no, you forget it. In UAE banks, they say, yeah, let's see, inshallah, like let's come back. And that it was like ongoing process without any results. But as soon as we set up operations, started expanding our network, we actually started meeting a lot of local people, I would say powerful senior people. And they actually advised us to apply for a license by ourselves at Central Bank. So last year, we decided to apply for stored value facility license, which makes you basically allow you to keep so-called electronic money on your cell phone, and category 1 license, which actually will allow you to issue and do acquiring. So we applied last year, and right now we are at the final stage of getting approval in principle. And just for your information, stored value facility license, as of today, there are only 3 companies who got that kind of license. So we hope by summer we got approval in principle, then we're gonna set up holding company in Abu Dhabi global market. And then we set up subsidiary, which will actually be able to issue prepaid card in dirham and partner with other fintechs, because in that region, because central bank is very, I would say, I wouldn't say bureaucratic, but it's very hard to get those kind of license. Fintechs ended up looking and finding and wasting time to talk to the banks. But banks, to some extent, they not share the same, I would say, values, because they have other target, ambition, and problem. So as soon as we get that kind of license, additional revenue stream, which will be like providing open banking, so-called banking as a service for those fintechs who are struggling, who have ideas, but they cannot even test and do in that market because either negotiation power is not high enough to get interest from the local banks, or maybe something less. But there are, I would say, maybe 10, 15 fintechs with good ideas, but they're still wasting time shopping around without any success. I forgot your question, sorry.
No, you answered it perfectly, Gani. That was really insightful. The choice of right jurisdiction to start is really key, and expanding to new markets can present quite a range of challenges, and it's impressive that you've been able to navigate those successfully. Compliance and regulations in various markets are crucial aspects of any fintech business. How does fintech ensure compliance with all of various KYC, AML, and GDPR requirements of MasterCard system and also local markets?
Well, as I told you, like, we are principal member of MasterCard, so it's not easy to get that kind of, I would say, membership and recognition. And I will tell you, in this region, we are only so far non-banking institution who is holding that kind of principal membership, which means we have direct dialogue with MasterCard and we can issue card by ourselves without being dependent on the bank. But to get that kind of membership, you have to follow and go through very long bureaucratic and very tough, complicated process, starting with KYC of the founders, starting with your idea solution, starting with your assets, everything like that. In addition to that, as I told you, we have certified payment processor, certified by MasterCard. So basically our payment processor right now is a part of the worldwide MasterCard family, which can process all card transactions, starting with issuance and ending with acquiring. By the way, we're providing payment processing services to Ziraat Bank, one of the largest state-run Turkish banks. So in order to go through that certification, you have to fulfill and obey all laws and rules. One of them is PCI DSS. So basically, just maybe in a nutshell, in order to get payment processor, you have to have physical premises. In order to have physical premises and make sure that those hardware will be safe, you have to go through technical audit, which means there are accredited technical auditors by MasterCard and Visa. It's not anyone. You have to fulfill their requirements in order then to apply for certification of your payment processor. So usually it takes from, as soon as you have that idea in your mind, to final results usually take from, I would say, 10 to 36 months. So during that period, we got PCI DSS. We got, we are licensed by Central Bank of Kazakhstan. We are licensed by Astana International Financial Center. We are licensed by Dubai International Financial Center. And we are licensed by Dubai Financial Supervision Authority. By summer, we get licensed from Central Bank of UAE and then Central Bank of Sudan. After that, we apply for license at Central Bank of Saudi Arabia. So all those licenses you will not get until you may provide them, I would say, information and your process and your policies and also certification that when it comes to client data is stored properly, is stored safely, and there is no any breach. So when you say that in terms of compliance, AML, everything like that, it's a part of the license process. You cannot get license if you don't prove them that you have everything in place.
Thank you, Gani. Having our own processing is definitely a competitive advantage over other companies. And can you share some real-world examples of how S1lkpay platform helped real businesses and consumers alike?
Yeah, as for business, we haven't started offering because it comes to corporate card, and corporate card is completely different regulation. Like in UAE, you can do it, but in Kazakhstan, only banks can issue corporate card. So again, this is one of the examples why our regulation is more close to, say, lobbying bank and banking institution. But when it comes to real so-called personal example, one of the examples, say you lost card, you are checking out from the hotel, you don't know anyone in that city, what are you going to do? Either you have to ask your friends and relatives to send money by cash through Western Union, which means you have to go to the close kiosk, cash pickup point, or something like. But imagine you have smartphone, your wife, your sister, your parents send card to you through that application. You get that card, add it, and boom, you pay. That's it. This is one of the, I would say, example. Another thing, what we do, actually, we got like we have two patents from US PTO. One is token sharing, another one is so-called crowdfunding shopping. So basically what we realized, a lot of our clients actually consolidate all their cards. For example, say you want to buy a refrigerator, which costs $2,000. You short of $1,000, and you don't have anyone from your relative or friends who can give you $1,000, but you have 10 friends who can give you $100. So eventually you get 10 cards, you can collapse it into one, and boom, you can pay and then buy that refrigerator online. So this is, I would say, our core product. Currently, we are looking, we are raising money, which allow us to be presented at least in a 10 jurisdiction, because the sooner you start, the sooner you offer those products. I'll give you one example. In Turkey, as of today, usually it takes 24 months to get license from Central Bank of Turkey, or you have to partner with local institutions, which usually take from 6 to 12 months. So the sooner you start, the sooner you will be able to offer prepaid card in different currencies. And our goal to offer from 10 to 15 the most popular currencies in the world. So I forgot what I was saying. Sorry. So what was the question, Ilya?
About the real world example.
Yeah, well, I gave you a real world example. Yeah, and right now I'm telling, coming back to corporate cards, look, as soon as we raise additional amount of money, we're going to create two separate teams among corporate card sharing and among crowdfunding shopping. As for corporate card, you can actually easily Google Javis, Brex, it's US companies who are providing more or less the same solution, where say you're owner of small entity, SME, you have like some employees, freelance, you have corporate card, you can share card and share with your employees, freelance vendors, and do like instant business transaction.
Thank you very much. That was a great question, Gani. Looking ahead of the future of payment technology, what do you see as a future, actually? How do you think AI, blockchain, crypto will impact the broader financial system? What role S1lkpay is playing in this evolving landscape?
Well, I usually say, because we are there, like I would say that sharing economy, peer-to-peer economy, I would say will get more and more attention. And we see that in Airbnb, when you usually say like when you're sharing some stuff, basically like when you have available assets, it might be time, it might be some physical things, it might be money, and you can easily borrow. So at least in my opinion, peer-to-peer economy, where you can provide people with some convenient, attractive solution, where people can instantly do peer-to-peer economy, sharing money, sharing everything what they have like available, I think this is one of the major trend, and eventually, at least in my opinion, might replace buy now, pay later, because buy now, pay later companies, they're facing one of the toughest challenges is financing their working capital. And at the end, basically, like they're earning very, very small margin if they're earning at all. And the second, I would say maybe like artificial intelligence, machine like learning when it comes to payment. Yeah, for example, say when you have some unusual payments, then boom, like that payment will be stopped. What else? Instant payment, either cross-border within the country. And of course, I would say further improvement in terms when it comes to biometric identification, authentication. Because there is no any global company right now which actually help fintechs to onboard clients like from different jurisdictions. You have to be present in certain jurisdiction, and then means you have to be integrated with local database. Then you have more or less some comfort factors. But when it comes to you sitting in Astana International Financial Center and say boarding someone from Thailand, you don't have anything when it comes to like say checking whether, for example, as a passport or some information actually accurate. So anything around that actually I think will be also potentially attractive, because it helps and then actually solve a lot of pain, especially among fintechs who would like to offer more and more remote services.
Thank you, Gani. And what's your take on crypto? If it's not confidential, I've heard you are building up a partnership with the crypto world to make up a bridge between crypto and fiat normal currency.
Yeah, as a licensed institution from MasterCard, we are a fiat company, yeah? And there should be Chinese wall between fiat and crypto world. But we partnered with crypto wallet company, and basically their client can instantly use their so-called even Bitcoin or Satoshi to buy a cup of coffee. On the backside, basically what happens, you're using your crypto assets, basically that crypto wallet company, what they usually do, instantly convert into fiat through instant purchase of our prepaid card. So like you sitting in a cafe, imagine you don't have anything, you have only cell phone, you have their application and you want to buy say coffee, you instantly convert your crypto assets into prepaid card and make a purchase. So ordinary people, let's say client, he will not even see how it happened because for him, it looks like he using crypto assets to buy a cup of coffee. But on the backside, since we have like kind of deep integration, we actually like that kind of a journey from crypto assets into fiat money happening on the backside. And why we actually like partnering with crypto world? Because we know that the crypto world is for people who love freedom, who don't want to have control. And since we're providing, at least to some extent, the same feeling and the same solution in fiat world, because we say you can be banker for yourself. Building that kind of bridge actually makes crypto and fiat world all together as a, I would say, competitive advantage and attractive platform for those kind of people.
Thank you, Gani. Thank you. The crypto adoption is one of the trends in current fintech community. So we've been really efficient, been on schedule. Now we have the opportunity for the audience to ask questions to Gani, and we have the first one. You may do it either by writing up the questions on Q&A section or chat session, or you can raise your hand and we'll give you the floor. So the first question was from Jakub from Czechia. Gani, I will read it for you, Gani. Gani, could you please give us some insight into how S1lkpay deals with cybersecurity? What measures do you have in place to protect against cyber attacks and fraud?
Well, since, as I said, we're a licensed institution, like all so-called necessary vendors we have in place, but I'm not technical guy. I can come back with if Jakub looking for like exact answer in terms of like name of our providers and vendors, I can do that, no problem. But believe me, like we have technical audit from regulator regularly. So if we didn't have those kind of in place, our license would be revoked. I hope my answer is satisfies Jakub. If not, please let me know. I come back later and I will send Illya to you, and then you can share to Jakub.
Sure. And by the way, just wanted to say that recording of this session will be available for everyone. We're still thinking how exactly to do it. But it will be available later. Okay, I saw someone raising the hand. Okay, Evgenia, let me give you the floor. Okay, Evgenia, you may speak now.
Okay, can you hear me well? Can you hear me well?
Yes, yes.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Evgenia. I'm from company Leopard. We had a great cooperation already with the company S1lk. It's independent, awesome product. Our clients top up their balance using S1lk cards and receive increased bonuses. It's good for us. I have a question about card sharing for companies. Is it possible to issue card with a company's personal branding and distribute them to clients through the S1lk app? For example, accrue bonuses for purchasing activity on cards.
Well, if I understood the question correctly, is actually whether we can issue card for the companies and then companies can distribute those cards to their clients.
Yes, from Silk app.
Yeah,
yes,
so basically,
it's okay. Yes, okay, it's okay. Okay.
So basically, it's called banking as a service, and we're already providing that to Ziraat Bank, being as a technology company. So, for example, one of the, I would say, instant cases is imagine big retail shop, big company, say, who has loyalty card. We can replace loyalty card with payment card, and as soon as you do that, you have much more, I would say, like rich information as compared with loyalty card, because when it comes to loyalty card, you usually see the customer when he shops in that shop. But yes, when you have payment card and if you provide more incentive, you start getting more and more information. But that kind of things actually depend on the strategy of that company, because usually when we meet, especially in Kazakhstan, to be honest, nobody, like most of them still I would say still working in the today environment. But we strongly believe banking as a service, when you as a company can be bank for your clients, is actually happening today. And the sooner company realize the better, and we actually can provide that. In addition to that, what we can provide is basically all those bonuses which company actually generate, we can actually restrict them within that company's empire. So because I do understand that when company shares the bonuses, issue bonuses, award the bonuses, they would like those bonuses to be spent within their ecosystem. And that we can easily do. I hope I answered the question. If not, please let me know.
Thank you, Gani. Any other questions? Okay, I think there's another one in the chat. Let me see. Okay, there's a question from Razvan. Razvan, you may ask it. Okay, I will read it for you. Gani, can you tell us about your plans for expanding in the EU? EDEST, obtaining licenses one of the EU member states, and furthermore passport into other EU jurisdictions.
Yeah, it's actually one of our strategy, as I said before, to be at least in 10-15 jurisdictions. So whatever way, either say partnering with local financial institution who already has license from the regulator, or we will apply by ourselves, it depends on the situation. But our main priority, the sooner we launch, the better. And another thing is actually, we want all those cards issued, be processed on our payment processor. Like recently I visited London, and we're right now partnering with one of the like British e-money company, because they have license to issue prepaid card in local currency, and they have several subsidiaries all over the world. So like hopefully if we're gonna be their payment processor, at the end we'll be able to provide our and their client with an options to buy and top up prepaid card in different currencies. So yes, we are open, and also one of our target region is EU as well.
Thank you, Gani. There's one more question in the Q&A. Any thoughts on expanding the list of services to be provided by S1lkpay to trading, including crypto assets, lending, such as consumer loans, etc.?
Well, I'm pretty sure, I would say all of you know that when you talk to global and regional investors, they usually say, focus on one product. When you see the traction, then come back. So yes, we have in our pipeline several products, as I said, corporate card, crowdfunding shopping, crowdfunding, anything like that. But our focus right now for the next 6-12 months is our core product to get licensed in Middle East, start offering our product, get traction, and after that, build a pipeline when it comes to new product.
Thank you, Gani. Any more questions from the audience? You may raise your hand if you want to ask it by voice. Okay, so I think it was quite an interesting discussion. It has been a pleasure to have Gani with us today to share his wealth of knowledge and experience in the financial industry and specifically in the world of fintech, of course. We learned about S1lkpay mission to promote financial inclusion by providing access to payment services in unbanked areas and societies and the challenges that they have overcame in their journey. Gani also provided insights to the regulatory framework applicable to their products in various markets and the importance of compliance with regulations such as KYC, AML, GDPR, etc. Furthermore, we dived into the S1lkpay's unique approach to cross-border payments and the technology behind their key products. And Gani also shared with us the history and challenges of getting the first capital and the importance of partnership and getting smart money in fundraising. And finally, we've had a glimpse into the future of payment technology and how S1lkpay is positioned to adapt the emerging trends and development. Thank you once again, Gani, for joining us and sharing your expertise. We look forward to seeing how S1lkpay continues to innovate and make a difference in the world of finance. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in and hope you found this discussion informative and engaging. Thank you for being with us today and see you at the next episode.
Well, thank you, Illya. Again, as I said, providing this opportunity to talk about our product, about our company, raise awareness. Please download our application, use it. We are open to any feedback, negative, positive, but mostly we're looking forward for negative because we're constantly improving our application. Please visit our website. Please, if you have any questions, it comes in investment, fundraising, partnership, we're open. I have account in LinkedIn, Facebook. So please free to reach me. And then thank you guys for your time. I try to be as short as possible, take into account time constraint, but there are a lot of more to talk. Thank you, Illya.